Thank you. All right, we'll check and make sure. Okay, good. You can hear me. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so excited that you guys are here today and that I get a chance to spend time with you. And obviously, I'll talk a little bit here and I'll share what I can. But I'm really even more excited about the opportunity throughout the rest of the day that I'm going to be here, that I get to watch some fantastic presentations and interact with other really cool, smart people. I'm not including myself in that. It's startling. I have now 3 teenagers and one just younger. I have 3 children in high school. How is that possible? I know. I'm only 28. We don't want to work out the math. Chris and I already discussed that I'm actually from the future, so there's a kind of, I'm not sure how it works. But what's startling to me, and you probably go through this same feeling from time to time in your own teaching, is that you'll find yourself in your classroom or walking down the hall of the school or doing what you do, and you kind of go, really? They let me do this? Because you remember the younger you that did those things in high school that we don't want to talk about, and that only your Facebook friends remember. But it's startling because I don't see myself as even the most creative, talented, intelligent person in my own house, and my teenagers would tell you that that's true. But we, all of us, in our own sphere, have so much that we can give to our students. I want to talk about that. Toby, I love that you used this word when you discussed this conference, and it brings up a really kind of a cool point that I think is worth talking about. And it's the idea of, wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be cool if you fill in the blank? And you have in your own classroom. You've done some cool stuff, and I'm excited to chat with you today and figure out what that cool stuff is. Hopefully, what I have to show you today will qualify as something cool. But it began with this conversation between my colleague and mentor, Dr. Lisa Dolly at Boise State, which was, wouldn't it be cool? We looked around and we realized that what we were interested in building didn't yet exist, or at least not in the form that we wanted. And we thought, well, wouldn't it be cool? We should do this. And I hope, if anything, I can share with you this idea that if you think of something cool, a cool approach, a cool lesson, a cool way to interact with students, a cool way to let them have a voice in your classroom, then that instinct is a really powerful and valuable one. Now, the little voices in your head that will continue from that wouldn't it be cool moment on will try to talk you out of doing the thing that is cool. And as long as it's not like an Evel Knievel idea, then I think you'll be okay. I'm sure, I'm from Idaho, and not very far, about an hour and a half away from where I live, there's this massive gaping canyon. You're probably familiar with the story, right? He thought, wouldn't it be cool to launch a rocket over this canyon? It didn't work out well for him. But that's the fun and the danger of this wouldn't it be cool kind of approach, is that it could be disastrous. That's why it's fun. But it could be fantastic. And it remains to be seen where we're going. So there's an interesting thing. We talk about games in the classroom all the time, but like it's a new thing. But let's expose right now the truth that games have already existed in the classroom for a long, long time. What are some of those games? We're all college educated, or at least have taken some college classes, right? What's the game in the classroom? Don't make me call on you guys in the front row, because I will do it. What? Grades. Why is that a game? Just shout it out. We'll make this like Maury Povich here.
Because everybody in college tries to figure out how to do the best amount of work or the least amount of work to get the highest grade.
Oh, okay. So what? Effort, reward, right? Oh, no. Well, we've all done it, haven't we? Right? Adam makes a really good point, which is students come into our class and they try to figure out what the game is. Is this kind of teacher? Is this kind of teacher? Is this kind of class or this kind of class? They try to figure out the game. We all did it. Let's not pretend like it didn't happen. Come in and you go, oh, I got to pay attention on every lecture. This is, I got to meet somebody smarter than me and talk them into being my study partner. Or this is one I can just blow off and come up to the front occasionally and schmooze the teacher and I'll be okay. There's a game that already exists in the classroom. We often refer to it as the game, What's in My Pocket? Because as a student, they're always trying to figure out what's in the professor's pocket. What's the secret? What do you want me to tell you? And that's a dangerous game because it doesn't have to do nearly as much with the content, the knowledge, the experience, the excitement that comes from that core subject, which, right, we want to instill in them, but turns it into something else, turns it into this kind of this subculture of learning, which I'm not that excited about. So there's a game that exists, and it exists in the college classroom. Within a lecture hall like this, if all of you had computers open right now, we only have a couple people, and they're checking their Facebook, which is fine. But it's about showing up and complying, and there's a real danger in that compliance kind of culture. Because I think it eliminates an awful lot of students. Okay, so I want to talk about a couple of things real quick, and I think we need to expose, if we're going to talk about changing the way we do things, changing education, we want to talk about a couple of really important things. First of all, that it hasn't always been this way. There was a time when the Little House on the Prairie school was the model. You guys remember Little House on the Prairie, right? Half Pint, Pa, Mary. Right? What was the youngest daughter's name? See? And what was the brother's name, the adopted one? Albert. See, you guys are good. Excellent. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. And this one-room school was a community school. It served the values of the community. Our school calendar is still based on much of the same principles. Why do we have to have summers off? Farming. Why do we have to have summers off now? So the kids can make their parents crazy. Right? Well, that's what's working in my household anyway. Can't wait for school to start. Absolutely. So we can acknowledge that there are some things about the old system that we still hang on to. We like paradigms. We hang on to them. But what was interesting about this period of time is that the stakeholders in the school made the decision. They hired the teacher. They often paid the teacher. Remember, teachers often didn't make a lot of money. They made food and goods and services and money. People would contribute to it like they would a church or another community-based piece. The people who would decide what was important to be taught in that school and what level of knowledge that those folks needed to have to contribute to the community was determined by Pa and Nels Olson and Doc Baker. Who's the Reverend? Who was it? Reverend Alden. Okay, thank you very much. We have some experts here. I love it. Were determined by those stakeholders. And the length of time that you went was dependent on a number of other things. You look at a community like that and you see a really rich diversity. Albert was probably going to inherit the family farm and serve in that capacity and own land and get married and raise a family. That's where he was likely headed. Mary, got to go off to college. She couldn't see, but Laura Ingalls Wilder eventually became a well-known writer, screenwriter, not really. And they all had their own place within the community. The school didn't try to educate them so that they would all be the same person. They were all individuals. Yet we often try to educate them so they'll be the same person. Or at least they'll have the same skills. They'll have the same aptitudes, which is a dangerous thing. We moved away from that obviously in a chunk of time not that long later, in the mid-1800s, we were beginning to ramp up the Industrial Revolution. We wanted to compete with other countries, and some big thinkers, from this neck of the woods, people like Horace Mann, had a really actually progressive idea. It meant that if you were not from money, or from power, or from influence, or from land holdings, which are kind of the same thing, you could still be great. You could still move into these really high-thinking, high-capacity kinds of careers, jobs, even public and civic leadership. But we needed to get you to that point. So you could be the son of a sharecropper, conceivably, and move through the education system. We could rake a few diamonds from the dirt, if you will, and create you into a model citizen, whether you had wealth or not. It was a progressive idea. And it was an effective idea if you lived in the right part of the country, if you were male, if you were white, if you weren't Irish. It's amazing when you look back at the prejudices that existed during those times, the nationalities that were often excluded from scenarios like these. But it was a progressive idea. But the key to doing this was sorting. We wanted to find out who those diamonds were and then stratify the others. We have a system that we still use for that. What is it? Yeah, it's called education, right? We grade them. This student is A, or this piece of beef or this produce is an A, all the way down to an F, the undesirable, the cast out. And we have this system. What's remarkable is that we've continued to change our paradigm, and we now have a contradiction between our ideology and our methodology. And that's a really important thing to expose early on, because what I'm about to show you, it'll make a big difference. It's the difference between that ideology and the methodology that creates so many frictions. First of all, we believe in this day and age that every student is possible. It's possible to achieve, whatever that achievement may be. We argue over what that should look like and how we're going to measure it, but we believe that every student should have the opportunity to achieve, that every student should have equal access to education, and largely that every student should be able to, if they choose to, go to college. We can talk about that at a later time and what that really means, but we believe that. Yet we have a system where we're still sorting them into categories. Not allowing them to achieve that. And there are a couple of reasons that we do that, and we'll expose those in just a second. I want to make sure that I have enough time to show you all of the cool things that the tool I brought for you to see has. But I think it's worth pointing out here that I do teach at the university. I really like my job at the university. I get to teach teachers, which is an incredibly fun thing to do. And for our teachers in the audience, which should be most everybody, you know what I'm talking about. The juice that comes from teaching, the buzz that just comes from being around people who are trying to achieve something. It's really, really fun. Before that, I was a band teacher. I taught high school band. I lost the weight, which is good. I don't know what it was. I started teaching band. I gained like 100 pounds. It's just the rule. And you think back, a band teacher, oh, yeah. I don't know what it is. I think it's the woodwinds, but or the chemicals in the reeds or something. But that's my number one goal. That's the thing that I enjoy the most and the thing that I want to be the best at. So 50 years from now, that's the thing I want to still be able to do. And so everything that I do kind of feeds that. Not my perception as a teacher, not my title as a teacher, but the actual process. And I truly believe that if a student does not succeed in my class, and I teach at the university level now, so there's a real acceptance of this idea of the bell curve, that the bell curve is okay. It shows that your class is good enough and hard enough. And I think that if I have a bell curve, then I'm failing a huge number of my students. If I can't present an experience, a collective experience to them in a way that will motivate, excite, and give them the opportunity to succeed in it, then I've got some tweaking to do. I've got some work to do. And so I want to talk about this real quick. We're aware of the challenges, and I'll just kind of go through this. We're seeing this all over the place. Disengagement, what to do with informal learning. It's not fun. It's lack of personalized, relevant learning. It's there for them, but it may not make a connection, and they're not prepared. I think one of the things that's really important to point out is that, and this is important to us, that really fabulous learning is happening all over the place. But we, right now, don't have a way to track it. You know, a great example, I'm going to use a World of Warcraft example, is Nicholas, the son of a good friend of mine, is fabulous and spends a lot of time in World of Warcraft. He actually uses really powerful online tools to track his loot, to sell it in multiple forums, and he's using and utilizing math at a really high level and accounting. And although he can quantify what he's doing and what he knows and how he's learned it, there's no place for that in his education system. It doesn't count. because there's no decent way to track it. And that was kind of one of our early ideas when we were thinking about, wouldn't it be cool, is how do you do that? How do you give him credit for the Common Core, for the state standards, or for something his school might need to credential him? How do we give him credit for that? Because that is much cooler than page 279 in the book, right? I mean, and he knows what's going on there too, but this is an actual application. So dealing with informal learning was a problem. We found at the university in our wouldn't it be cool discussion that gaming might be the approach. Now, I think it's really important. Now, this is a games and education conference, but I challenge you to think of it as a different way of looking at organizing the world of education rather than this pure game overlay. I play games. I own several arcade games, to my wife's chagrin. Try storing those. It's not as easy as a N64. You can't put it in the drawer. But I'm also very sensitive to the fact that some people will stigmatize that. And like a lot of other buzzwords in education, it may feel like it could come and go very easily. But that doesn't mean that the principles are any less valid, even if people don't understand them. So I want you to expand your definition. Yes, we're talking about principles that are common in gaming, but they are more principles that are common in just, I think the best way to describe it is motivating activity, which is ubiquitous in education. That's what we want. Okay, so it's that moment, and we've all had it, I love her face, where you get it, right? And there's a power that runs through you, almost like you could shoot a lightning bolt out your hand if you raised it over your head, that our students get to. We get to it. They get to it. And it's that moment of fiero that is the most exciting and that we want to get to and that we think that gaming will help deliver for us. So, we decided we wanted to create something special, something new, something that didn't exist. While you could call it a learning management system, and that term would apply, and I think that you could make that argument, we didn't think about it that way, but we wanted to create something where we could metagame. Our first wouldn't it be cool conversation was, let's get a bunch of teenagers together, let's put them in one of the rooms, classroom, we'll check out all the projectors in the college, we'll plug in all these consoles, we'll get out all the laptops, and we'll just game. 2-3 weeks, let's do it during the summer. Lisa and I said, yeah, that'd be cool. We didn't know what we were going to teach, we just knew that we wanted to pull out tons of games. Well, how about Blockland? That was just slightly prior to Minecraft. How about World of Warcraft? How about Nintendo? How about Wii? How about PlayStation 2? How about Xbox? And we pulled all these games out and we thought, okay, what can we do with all this stuff? She came up with the idea, wouldn't it be cool to teach them leadership? Because really they're exhibiting leadership in their gaming, in their guilds, in their communities. Why can't we just kind of help them to use games to help kind of fortify leadership? Yeah, that'd be cool. So we decided to go in that direction. We very quickly realized that there was this metagaming idea, that you could do something over on this console that should give you credit, and then we'd make the whole camp a game. You could earn XP for trying this game and XP for teaching someone how to do this on a level, and we'd start to infuse these different pieces. Wouldn't it be cool? Yes! But metagaming was a little bit harder because there wasn't a tool that could track it. We could get out Post-its, we could mark it on the board, but that wasn't nearly as cool as a self-selectable, self-paced thing. You walk in today, and I'm going to do what I feel like. We started with an interesting idea that, okay, this day will be about this lesson, this day will be about this lesson, and I made the point to Lisa early on that we can't dictate. We can't dictate what they're going to do because that takes the fun out of it. Now we can create a game for them and invite them to participate in it. But the minute we say, all right, you're all going to do this, or then it puts us in position of kind of authoritarian control of what they're doing. It was about those decisions that they made. I want to do this. So we're going to talk about that paradigm of choice here in just a second. But games do a bunch of really cool stuff. So the system we built is built on the idea of game-based learning. You recognize a lot of these names, and you know, a lot of these features. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but if you've not spent a lot of time listening to our colleague Jim G, to Constance Steinkuhler, Sasha's got some interesting stuff up there, Henry Jenkins, my friend and colleague David Gibson, wonderfully brilliant thinkers in this area who have opened my mind and will open your mind if you dig in and just kind of enjoy what they've been offering. But it was the elements of that we wanted to bring into a learning tool. So, jump ahead here so we've got enough time. Those of you familiar with Chatfield, you guys know Tom Chatfield's work? Yeah? No? Tom Chatfield, write the name down. 7 Ways to Reward the Brain. He wrote a really good book called Fun, Inc., which is a great book that is pretty valuable. But he talks about some really important pieces that we have in video games that often we don't have in our own classrooms. And to bring these elements in, we create an environment that's much more like a game, much less like a didactic learning scenario. Choice, progress bars, so students always know where they are. The combination of both long and short-term aims. Coupled with choice, that's a really powerful thing. The opportunity for safe failure and repeated failure. You can fail again and again, and that's okay. Right now, if you get an 81% on a quiz, we're going to teach you something different, aren't we? We're going to teach you responsibility. We're going to teach you that what it is that you're supposed to know is not as important as you didn't prepare enough. Right? We're going to teach you that this is how they do it at the next level, that I want to prepare you for this. And it's not right for me to, you know, that we make a number of judgments. Uncertainty, feedback, opportunities for socialization, and a really big one, which is the rewarding of effort. So I want to talk, if I can, just for a second, and I need your help, about this idea of choice. You have 2 options, and I realize 2 is kind of limiting, but for the sake of time, we'll just go with 2. You can either jump off the 10-meter diving platform into the pool, or you can swim 100 meters. Who's going to jump off the 10-meter platform? That's like 30 feet, by the way. Who's jumping? Hands up. Hands up high. Why?
Because it's fun.
Why are you going to jump?
It's faster.
It's faster. Oh, wait, hold on. We have a disagreement. Why are you going to jump?
I was going to say because I've never done it before and it sounds fun.
Well, hold on. This is getting too hard to judge. Who else is going to jump?
It's easier than swimming, therefore.
So that's, you guys are all answering wrong. What else? Why would you jump?
Because it's scary.
Because it's scary. All right. Well, okay. You guys aren't doing any good. Who's not going to jump? Why?
Because I'm not afraid to swim.
Because you're not afraid to swim. Why? Okay. Why else would we jump? We all agree?
Because we know how to do it.
Because you know how to. Okay. Okay. You guys are really screwing this up. Why would you swim?
I'm scared of heights, so.
You're scared of. All right. Okay. So you guys have exposed the problem here. If I select an activity for you, I'm ignoring the context you come with. Okay, we have because it would be fun, because it's faster. There's no way I'm doing that because I'm scared of heights, because I'm comfortable swimming. There are pieces within the learner that we can't bring out completely, even if we spend an hour a day just learning all about them. They bring to the conversation a context that is incredibly important in the selection of learning activities, because they, our students, will select things that are meaningful to them. You use the word ease. Who used the word ease? It's easier. I know how to do it. Did you? Yeah, okay. That's an incredibly important thing. Now, often learners will use the word easy. Right? I'm going to choose that one because it's easier. I think that we could argue, you said because it's easier, that who doesn't think that jumping off a 10-meter platform is easy?
Who doesn't?
Is that it's not easy. Okay. Then that doesn't mean that you guys are not brave. Have you jumped off something that high before? Or have you done some crazy stuff before? Okay. Right? So he's developed, through his experience, a schema to which that activity is more comfortable than it would be for somebody else. And that's okay. That doesn't make him more brave. That simply makes him more experienced in that area. And once we realize that all of our students are smart, all of our students are clever, that all of our students have really special things that they can offer the classroom if we give them the opportunity to do it, then we open up this idea to a really special conversation that we can have with our students, which is, if I give you the choice between these things. By the way, did anybody think to themselves, yeah, those are great, but why? Anybody? Go, yeah, I don't really want to do either of those. Why are you asking me to do that? We don't have any antisocial feeling? No. All right, Chris raises his hand. Absolutely. Well, so why are you making me do this? Well, what if Chris and I have the conversation? Well, here's what I'm actually trying to assess. This is the first day of Aquatics 101. Thank you for coming. I want to see if you have basic water acclimation skills. I need to identify who my non-swimmers are really quick. And so if I can see you jump in the water, change direction, swim a short distance, swim back, then I know that you're in this group and I can start you in this area of the curriculum. When you realize that one activity or multiple activities can test the same thing, test is a terrible word, take it back, I didn't say that we can use it to assess, to find out some interesting things, then we give ourselves a lot more power in the classroom. So that's the premise. Choice between multiple activities that demonstrate the same thing give the student the opportunity to bring their context forward in a safe way and an acceptable way. Two of you might decide to jump for social reasons, right? Well, I'll do it if you do it. That's fine. That's fine. Those social connections in our classroom are really powerful pieces. Okay, so what I really want to do is I'm going to show you both the tool that we've been using, and the results of me teaching for a year using this system. So this is absolutely true about the college class that I teach, right? There are no tests or quizzes. There are no due dates. There's no arbitrary order. And thankfully, there's no bell curve. There are some phenomenal results I'll share with you at the end. I'd like to point out, too, that as we're kind of slowing down on time, I showed that there are 13 minutes left, that you may not have time to answer all the questions that you may have. And that's okay. I may not get to it. But the wonderful thing about an event like this is that we're going to get a chance to talk, and I hope that we will. So if there's something I haven't addressed and you're really interested in, or you think I'm full of crap and you want to confront me in the hallway, that's great too. Because my teenagers told me that before I left. So, okay. So I want to take, and you know what? We don't have the audio up here. I think we were going to, and then I don't. Oh, yes, we do. Let me just give you a short video which explains how the system works. And I think that this will save us a lot of time because it's not me talking.
What does class look like in quest-based learning? It looks like a game. In a typical class, everyone does the same thing. There's no way for me to pursue my interests, choose activities to support the way I learn best, or customize the experience. But in a game, there are lots of choices. I can choose from many different activities that all lead to the same winning condition. In quest-based learning, it's the same. Class becomes a game where I can work towards winning and getting an A in class too. And I can do it my way. Let me show you. Quests are individual lessons that add up to a class. But in a quest-based class, there are many more activities to choose from. In my quest-based biology class, I can choose activities that interest me right now. I can choose by category, experience points, keywords and tags, user ratings, and even how long it took other students. I can find out more about a quest before choosing it, including what other students have said about it. This can help me choose activities that work best with the way I learn. The quest itself can include all the video, text, and media I need to learn. Quests can be solo, cooperative, or even competitive with other players. Quests can be 100% web-based or give directions for something to do in the classroom. It's great. When I finish it, I turn it in right there. I can give notes to my teacher about the activity, upload a file, or link to a website that has my finished work. It's so much fun. Then I get to add my feedback. How long did it take me? What do I rate this activity? What comments do I have for other students who might want to complete it? I get to actually influence what happens in my education. Because it's like a game, I earn experience points for completed quests rather than letter grades. If my activity is not right, my teacher sends it back with changes so I can learn from my mistakes instead of getting penalized with a C. I can keep doing activities and leveling up until I get the grade that I want and win the class. It's amazing. Like a game, I can also earn awards, badges, and achievements for doing stuff in the game. I can get rewards for doing all sorts of things like finishing 5 quests in 5 days, great grammar or spelling, finishing groups of quests, just about anything you can imagine. Instead of a grade book, I can see progress bars showing how far I have to go to the next level and the end of class. Unlike a grade book class, I always have the opportunity to learn from my mistakes and move forward at my pace. Because I'm choosing my path, I can finish the quest as fast or as slow as I need to go to get it right. I never feel behind and always know where I need to go. Sweet, I leveled up! Now I have tons of new quests available. This type of learning suits me better than a traditional graded class because I have a say in how I learn and get to make choices. I can always see where I stand and what I have to do to get to the next level, literally. This is what learning looks like in the future, and I love it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get back to the game. I mean, biology.
Okay, so that's kind of a student walkthrough, and I'm going to actually show you the tool here. I'm logged in a couple of different places. I will show you, of course, the teacher side, and I'll show it to you as a student right now. I'm going to jump into Kimmy's actual user, not a test user. You'll notice that, maybe I'll pick one where she may have done just a little bit less. Takes just a moment. Actually, she may have completed this one too. Interesting. So what you see here is that she's leveled up to the rank of a Jedi Master. Any student in any group can figure out what the run of the course looks like. These might be ranks that are available to her in the group. This is her total XP, groups or classes, and you've got lots of cool stuff like that. Progress bars, not just showing you the distance to the next rank, but what do I need to do to win this group? The course itself may have a winning condition. Let me jump into one that I know she's finished. You'll notice that there are 0 quests available, there are 0 in progress, and she's completed 28. She's got a new announcement in here. We're sending announcements to students to the system. This is a quest. Let me find one that would be fun here. Embed a quest in a video, shows she's completed it. You'll notice that just to dig in a little bit deeper and find out what's in that quest, I can expand it. Take a look, read the description, find out if there are any prerequisites, and explore the tags. If I actually want to do a search for quests that may have games in them, maybe that's something I'm interested in, or perhaps YouTube, I can actually search available quests within the group to be able to do that. Myself as a learner, I'm looking for things I want to do. What's fantastic about that is that each quest is tied to standards. I'll open this one up, take a look at it. It's got an embedded video in it. Let me take a peek here. It's got tags. Here's the national standard that it meets. It can be set to multiple national standards, and a bunch of cool stuff like that. What was I going to show you? I can choose to complete this one if I want. You'll notice also that that all the quests include some really interesting learner information, user information. First of all, a rating system, not by the teacher, but by the users. And if something, as a teacher, if something is trending very poorly, it's down in the 2- and 3-star territory, I'm all over that. I try to figure out why, and I can. So can the students. Well, let me see. Done with all the quests in the group. This one is not trending very high. Here's a comment on it. I can only add, oh, okay. That's the comment that she left on it. If she were searching them, there'd be more available to her. It's a really interesting way to work through a system. Let me show you what the teacher side looks like just briefly. Again, all of these quests are ones that I've created. This one happens to be in a group specific to gaming, learning about the context and culture of gaming. This is a course really for teachers to help them understand the vocabulary of gaming, first of all. And this is an example of a first-person shooter. The game's actually embedded in there. I pulled some old school Doom out. Here's some other examples of places that you can find it, but this is all in a quest, and a student might complete this. If I want to create a new quest in my group, it's relatively easy. I just fill in the details here. Here's the name. Here's the short description for the pop-up. Here's the details, which include a detailed WYSIWYG. I can put in HTML, how they're going to submit it. But say, for example, I don't know what I want them to do. I actually have the ability to search the entire system for any public available quest that I can clone. So I'm going to look up games here. I'm interested in those that might include games. Ooh, Congregate. It's a good tool. I can actually clone that quest and bring it into my group. That's made possible by Creative Commons licensing. All of the quests created in the system are Creative Commons licensed. You can set them to private, but it's a lot more fun to share them with others and to make them available for others to share. So the burden of creating a curriculum from whole cloth disintegrates when we have a system by which we can share our own creativity. Now, I may want this quest, but it may not have the deliverable that I want. I may want some, one part of this and another part of something else. I can do that. I can clone it and create it. But the original creator of this fabulous quest, say that it's Peggy or Lucas, I want to use theirs, they continue to get the attribution for that. Other people are aware that they were the originator of this idea, this quest. We become this really cool sharing community. Let me show you real quick on our friend Kimmy here. I'm going to click on her name so that I can bring up her player card. We talked just briefly about rewards, achievements, badges. One of the things that was really important to us is that we could always see where the student was. Right? If you're giving them choice, you better be able to connect what they're doing back to the things that we're expected to teach them, right? That's the magic of what we as teachers do, right? We take something and we apply the context necessary so that it's meaningful to them. Nicholas, who's doing the work in World of Warcraft, his is a great example of if he's doing something valuable out there. It's my job as a teacher to say, you know what, that's exactly like this. Oh, it is? Yes. To engage in that magical conversation about it. So it just so happens that Kimmy's earned quite a few badges. I can see where she is against each of these standards. I can see where she is in each of the categories, what she selects. Eventually, our system and any system like this will be able to recommend activities for students and for teachers. A short little email which tells them that that there's been a real popularity in the activity like this. Maybe you should bring in and clone this quest, which is very similar and meets the standard also. But you can see all of the things that she's done and, of course, all of her recent activity. It's her gamer card. This is also visible if she selects by other members of the group so that it's fun and shareable. Those are just a couple of the pieces. We have 200 teachers now currently in the system. We opened a camp this summer, which was a closed beta, and invited a bunch of teachers to participate in a camp. They all have access to the tool in the system. The common question when I talk about it is, how can I get access to? There will be another opportunity shortly. Take my card and we need to exchange some emails, and I'll let you know when something like that opens up. One final thought here is that I've been teaching using the game-based, quest-based approach for over a year now with remarkable results. My bell curve is gone, I'm sorry to say, which makes a couple of my colleagues a little frustrated because it's not rigorous enough. I think that it's just now coming into being. In the last semester, I had 47 students, and 39 of them got A's or A pluses. 2 got B's because they were never done. They never lost those critical points on that bad week when they were sick with the flu or they had too much going on that week. they were able to continue to chip away at that 2,000 point winning condition. 2 got Bs because life took over in the last week of school, and they said, you know what, I've got 1,850 points, I'm okay with a B. And I would say, okay. Thanks for participating. I tried to give them an open opportunity. I have 5 Fs, no Cs or Ds, by the way, 5 Fs, which is more typical in college because life takes over and people just stop coming after week 2 or 3, drop out completely. And one incomplete who's just about to finish up. To me, those numbers are a lot better. Every student who kept coming reached the winning condition, either an A+, A, or those 2 that got Bs. Every student who kept coming. So what I would like to encourage you to do really is that we've created this. We can continue to dialogue about this tool specifically, but it's even more about the piece in your own classroom, the wouldn't it be cool if. Okay? Unfortunately, no one is going to hand you a curriculum and say, this is game-based, this is what you're supposed to do. You're the smart people who come to conferences like this, who connect with other smart people and try to build this creative base through which you can do the stuff that you do. Your administrators may never understand. Your colleagues may never understand. But if it's cool enough to excite you, if it's cool enough to excite your students and you can have a dialogue with them about what that looks like, then I think it's cool enough to pursue. It can end in failure. So can almost any activity that we do in the classroom. I encourage you to follow that wouldn't it be cool if. It's a much more exciting way to live. So thank you very much, and I hope we get to talk more today.